You have until the count of 5.
I happen to love the number 5. It's a beautiful number, a glorious number.
You got to the count of 5.
Best intro ever! Best intro ever! This is Jesse, and you're listening to Got Till 5 Wrestling Podcast, and I'm opening the show because that's what I do, and I'm really good at it, and this is going to be the best one. Hello!
Proud of yourself on that one, are you?
Yeah, that's definitely the best intro we've ever done, I think.
48 episodes in, and that's
How
the
many
peak.
episodes in?
48. Welcome to episode 48.
48, and we finally nailed it with a good intro.
God, it's just getting depressing at this point, isn't it?
Just hand me the reins, mate. I'll deal with this.
Okay, what are we doing this week then, Jesse?
Talking.
Cool. Start as far as you're taking us? Alright.
Women.
Welcome everyone to the God to 5. My name's Max, by the way. This week we are doing top 5 women's matches. So from across the wrestling world and spectrum throughout history, we'll be looking at the best matches that involve the women. And
old women. We need them.
We've also got an interview with one of the fastest rising stars on the UK independent scene. He'll be joining us in just a second. But I don't want to be rude to you, Jesse. How are you? How's your week been? Quickly.
I'm good. Went to Amsterdam last week to work on a show for a chap called Gilbert O'Sullivan. Now, if you are under 50 years old, you won't know who Gilbert O'Sullivan is. But he was a good singer-songwriter from the 70s. It was a sold-out show. It was good. But it's a long drive to Amsterdam.
It's a long way, isn't it?
Long way. But I went through a bit of France, Belgium, and Holland, obviously. And it was nice. People, Hollish people. What are they? Netherlands, Dutch.
Dutch?
Yeah, Dutch Mantel. Dutch people are fucking lovely. Really, really nicest people I've ever met in my life.
I can agree with that. I've only ever been to Rotterdam, but when I was in there, absolutely lovely.
They were awesome. So more Dutch people, please. How was your life since last time?
Good. Like, I feel like I'm on the boring spectrum compared to your Amsterdam. I think my highlight was I went to the hospital and I've had my shoulder checked. That was fun.
Yeah, how is it?
Like an old man. It's healing. And I asked the doctor, I was like, so when can I wrestle again? When can I get back in the ring? And he just goes, I don't think that's a good idea. Maybe wrestle lightly. And I was like, how do you wrestle lightly?
I think the fact that... I'm with the doctor, quite frankly. Anyone else would be all right, but you're a walking shoelace.
Well, you got a British strong style. I'm going to bring in a British soft style.
British soft style.
That's going to be my goal.
When you're in the ring, it's like someone's just poured some soup into the middle of the ring.
High quality Heinz, though. Let's be serious about it.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Come on now.
Lumpy.
Should we crack on with the show? Should we get to the content that people actually care about instead of our soup-related puns?
Oh, everyone's turned off. It's just us.
And also, don't forget, wrestling fans, if you head on over to powerslam.tv and sign up using promo code GOTTIL5, all one word, you get a 30-day free trial with promotions such as IPW UK, Bar Wrestling, Riptide, CCW Defy, OTT, Rev Pro, and many, many more. You get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from around the world for free for the next 30 days with the promo code GOTTIL5 at powerslam.tv.
That's 5 the word, not 5 the number.
If they can't figure that out, Jesse, they don't deserve a free trial.
Well, I don't deserve a free trial then.
Did you fuck up a little bit?
I made mistakes.
You might have done. Let's bring on our guest. We always like to bring on the best of the best that we've got on the British scene, and this gentleman, I've had the pleasure of seeing him perform on a number of occasions now, places like Riptide. I saw him when we were at Pro Wrestling Soul, which is where I got to meet him. I was like, hey, come on our podcast, and he was a bit like, I don't know. Is Jesse going to be doing it? I'm not so keen.
I'm the draw of this podcast, and it's a shame that you're the one that always has to ask people.
I've got no retort to that. He's already sickeningly good, and he's going to be everywhere even more than he already is. It's the one, the only, the O.J.M.O. How's it going, bud?
It's going great. How are you guys? How's it?
Hey, that was
lovely.
anticlimactic. Should we give him a round of applause, Max?
Go on then.
Introduce him again.
I ain't doing that whole bit again. I can do the name. It's the O.J.M.O.
Hey!
Oh, he's even had his own sound effects. I like it.
Yeah, I had a little bit of just piped in tape smackdown. Crowd noise there.
How dare you? They would never resort to such dirty tactics.
No,
No, never.
not even. Not even.
So I always like to start these interviews off by getting to know like a little bit of background about you. We always want to know how this all kind of came to be. So can you remember? Because I want to get a compilation, because we always ask this to every single guest. Like, what was the first match you saw? Do you remember?
Oh man.
Trying to find the weirdest one.
I can't remember. Okay. The first memory that I can think of a match is. Here's the weird thing about the answer. I know that I've been watching wrestling my whole life, but I just don't. I have weird spotty memories, such as like being told to go to bed when the very first Hell in the Cell match was going to happen.
Nice.
Because
That's a terrible time to go to bed.
which I mean, yeah, I wanted to watch it, but my parents were adamant. I mean, it's the first one, but they were so sure. I guess it was promoted so well to be so violent that I was definitely going to bed for that match. But the very first match I actually remember that I have a memory of seeing was the triple threat. I think it was at SummerSlam '99 with Triple H, Stone Cold, and Mankind.
Nice.
I remember being up and watching that live, and I remember Jesse Ventura being the ref, but I had no idea who he was. I just saw a bald guy in stripes, and because I was a big fan of Ace Ventura, for some reason I kept calling him Jesse the Ace Ventura. I remember that vividly. I just remember that Mankind winning the title.
Nice.
And
Spoilers, Jesus.
oh, sorry, if you're following. Oh, darn it.
Well, now I've
20
got
years.
this image of Ace Ventura as a referee, and I just can't get it out of my head now.
That would. I can't believe it hasn't happened.
That'd be fantastic.
That would be good. Jim Carrey's sort of lost his sanity enough recently to probably agree to do it as well.
I mean, exactly. He already did the Andy Kaufman film.
Yeah,
So-
right, exactly.
There's a link. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the first memory. But I know I've been watching wrestling before then. I started to watch some Raws from back in the day, just out of nostalgia reasons. And I remember stuff that I'm seeing from like a '98 Raw or like a '97 Raw, and I'm like I definitely just like spotty memories. But I'm like, yeah, okay, I remember that. I remember that guy. I remember this guy. I remember definitely that happening. But '99 SummerSlam, that's the first match I remember watching.
Yeah, well, that's a solid place to start. You know, that's like peak Attitude Era,
Yeah.
PWE. So yeah, solid choices. I don't
That's
remember.
good.
Yeah, I think the weirdest one is still Spike. Spike's like first ever match involved Shane McMahon, and for some reason that got him into wrestling. So it's going to be hard pressed for us to find one, Jesse, that kind of beats that one.
That's true. My first match involved Shane McMahon as well, but it was also Kurt Angle. So
Exactly.
it
This was
sort
like
Oh.
Shane McMahon. No, it was Shane McMahon versus. I can't remember his name now. It was a complete no name
That's
from
Steve
his.
Blackman?
No, it was. What was his
That's
stable
not a
called?
no name. He said a no name.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I know. I'm just assuming Max is an idiot.
Again, I have a cough, Jesse. Do not make me laugh on this podcast, otherwise I'll sound like Muttley.
Sorry, deadly serious.
Deadly serious, folks. Come on. Nice. Yeah, that's a solid choice, and you've been with it ever since. Have you ever had like a lull period where you've gone away
No.
and something's drawn you back? You've always been there.
I've always been watching, and then I've always been I've had like a vivid memory of watching wrestling, everything from 2000 onwards, everything from the Armageddon '99 when Triple H and Stephanie aligned, when it was like the match where it was him versus Vince, and then Triple H and Stephanie hugged. Literally from that moment onwards, I have a vivid memory of watching Raw and SmackDown every single week
Wow.
till today.
That's amazing. I don't think I've met anyone, whether they're fans or wrestlers, that are that religious about it. Have you, Max?
No, like, I'll admit I've taken like a month or two here, like most people have kind of done, where you get a little bit burnt out by it. But yeah, never to go kind of like solidly through. It's impressive.
Yeah, I don't think I know anyone there. So what transitioned you into wanting to wrestle? How old were you? Where did you get started?
Oh man, so to bit of a backtrack. I remember wanting to do it. Pretty much, it's one of those things where, like, as a kid, you're like, you want to do it because it's fun, and it's like you look at these guys and you're like, oh, they're like superheroes or the coolest people ever. So I want to do that, and I can be that. And And I think the way I would express that would be creating myself in every single like video game, every single wrestling video game I'd create myself.
Definitely.
And then, but then I think that was it. Like, so as time went on, like I think everybody does it when you create yourself, sometimes you don't create yourself as to like what you actually look like. You create yourself as to what you want to look like. And then when it comes to moves, you're like, moves that you'd never even imagine you'd be able to do. You're just looking for the coolest moves in the game. You're going to give yourself the corkscrew shooting star presses of the move. But then as time went on, as years went on, I started to, again, I'm like in my teens, but I'm starting to think of a moveset and think of moves that I would actually be physically capable of doing. And I was starting to actually develop a moveset based on, okay, I can do a neck breaker. I can do a moonsault, I'm sure. And then it just slowly became a realistic moveset, and I was trying to see if I can fit my attributes as well settings to people on the roster and be like, okay, so I don't know, so Christian has this amount of strength. I probably have less strength than him, but if I was in the roster, I'd be around his levels. So I'd intricately, as years on, think more and more in depth about if I was actually a wrestler. And then it came to a point where like I went to a couple live Raws at the O2 in London, and I mean nosebleed seats, very far away. The first one I went to, like Bret Hart was there as like the special guest GM when they had the special guest hosts.
No,
but they were far away, and it's like you're like very much away from the action. But then there was one event I went to in Brighton in probably like 2014 maybe, and I was like fourth row, and I just remember thinking, I'm too close. This is too close to the ring. I need to do this now.
It's there. It's
right there. It's right there. And like there was like, and this is not me crapping on them, but I remember the thought process going through. It was the Jack Swagger versus Rusev match, I believe, and I was so close watching them having their match, and I remember thinking, okay, I can definitely do that. I can definitely get to that level at some point in my life. I know I can. And then, I mean, it was main evented by Cena and Rollins in the tables match, and I saw a table bump, and I was like, okay, I don't want to do that. I want to make sure I only stick at the Swagger and the Rusev in a normal singles match. And it was actually like around that time that I think I started just Googling like wrestling schools, timidly, just to try and just to appease myself, I guess. But it was only until end of 2016 that I actually messaged Knuckleloss, which was at the time the Projo, the Progress Wrestling School, just saying, hey, I don't think I'm like in shape or in TV ready shape, but do you think I'll be like, you know, just a stupid message. I wish I could pull it. I probably can pull it up because it was on Facebook Messenger, but like it was just such a stupid message. It was like, I don't think I'm TV ready, but do you think I could be a wrestler? Or like, you know, my physique isn't up for it. And then the message was like, yeah, sure, well, yeah. And I didn't message back. Like, I was going to say for months, but no, I didn't message back at all. Like, they said, like, yeah, you could do it. There's no problem. But then the WWE UK Championship tournament got announced around like November, December time. And it was either the day before. Yes, it was. It was the day before. I got a message asking, hey, you still up for the joining the beginners course? And I had enough money to put a deposit. And I remember I was out in public and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I paid it on my phone right there at that moment. I was like, yep, I'm absolutely going to do it. And then it was the next day, they announced the UK Championship tournament. They had the picture on WWE.com of the title. And I was like, that is a beautiful championship. And I was like, man, well, no better time to start. So I started training in January of 2017.
Nice.
Amazing.
And you've made like hella progress from that point on in such a short amount of time, because you've done Progress, Rev Pro, Championship at Battle, Riptide, all over the place really. Has there kind of been a standout moment for you so far?
I'd say, man, there's so many, but the Wembley would probably be the most standout moment for me.
I guess Wembley will do.
Yeah, it's an easy answer, but like, yeah, to compare it against all the other shows, but like to say that like I've wrestled at Wembley Arena is just a weird thing to be able to say I've achieved in this amount of time, as well as ever, especially when I was like, it was kind of on a whim that I said like, okay, I'm going to actually decide to be a wrestler, and then a year and a bit later, I'm in Wembley Arena with like all these wrestlers, some of which I've wrestled before, some which I've been watching, and my trainer as well, Daryl Land's in the ring. I'm just like, and then there's like nearly 5,000 people just watching me. We're very little.
That's mad. That's insane. I think you are, because it was the battle royale, right, at the start of the show. Yeah. So I think you're like the 5th person from that match we've had on here. So I think, Jesse, we need to make a goal to get every single one of them on here, and we'll ask them the question, what's your standout moment, and they'll all go Wembley.
Yeah, I imagine they will.
And like, you know, I know some people might think, yeah, but it was the pre-show, or like it was about Royal.
It's still Wembley.
Yeah, it's Wembley. And then I also think of like, there's so many wrestlers who have come before us that have laid the groundwork for like for an independent promotion in the UK to get to a Wembley show that haven't been able to even perform at Wembley. That would love to. I know that for a fact. That like, there's like people who are like, yeah, man, I'd love to work there. And like, and it's a surprise bit that they haven't. But then here I am, random dude that has. So like, I'm making sure that it's not lost on me how important having a spot on the card of Wembley is.
Yeah, definitely. It's, as you say, there's so many people that would love to kind of work that event, and as you say, you got to work with your trainer of Daryl, and because when we were at Pro Wrestling Seoul, the main event was him versus Johnny Kidd in a British Rounds match, which is available on their Twitter page, by the way. And it's an absolutely fantastic match. And then that's how good the scene is at the moment, that you can go to a library in Wimbledon and see like Daryl Allen and Johnny Kidd and stuff. It's insane.
Isn't it nuts? It's the best thing.
Yeah.
Like that that could happen. Yeah, just like there's books surrounding the fans in the ring, and then there's wrestling in Wimbledon.
Such a weird venue, but a very cool venue. Very cool. Are you at the next Pro Wrestling Soul show? Have you been announced?
Yeah.
You've been announced.
Yeah,
lovely.
I am.
Excellent.
I'm on it.
I somehow won VIP tickets to the next show. Don't know how that happened.
Oh, really?
So,
there you go.
I'll be there. I'll be there, cheering you on. Don't you worry. So that's your standout moment. Have you got kind of like a favorite wrestling-related story? So some of that may have happened in the ring, backstage, on the way to a show. Is there anything like from that aspect that stands out to you?
Oh man, there's just so many
we ask
stories.
The hard
of, like,
questions here at Got Till 5.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah.
I can tell. There's so many stories of like being on the road or just traveling around being restless that you're just laughing your head off. Some of which can absolutely also not be repeated in public.
Well, yeah.
For risk of.
Jesse knows all about that. Don't worry.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, go on. What did you do? Do you have a story, Jesse?
Oh no, as you say, nothing that can be said publicly. But if you could meet me, you'd just be able to look into my eyes and know that.
All right. Okay. I think my favorite, I guess, one story is when I went to Italy, to Rising Sun. I went with Mills Mayhew and Curtis Chapman. It's the lads on tour, so to speak.
So I'm just picturing those two and calling it lads on tour. But go on.
Yeah. And and then like we had like a good time because like we got to be in Milan for maybe like a day or two before the show. So actually got to like enjoy the city a bit and just walk around and do nothing related to wrestling. The place that we stayed was nowhere near the town center. So at night, it was a house, kind of like an Airbnb kind of deal, but the promoter had us hooked up with. But the thing is, like, we didn't know how to get out of we wanted to consume alcohol. 3 of us who are above the age of 18.
Of course.
And we were like, well, let's go find some. And so it was raining in Milan around this time of year, and we decided to climb out of, I think we climbed out of a window. And we left it open because obviously we need to get back in. Yeah. And we were in the rain, roaming the streets of Milan, and just looking for a shop that sold alcohol. And we were out there for like an hour, and we couldn't find any. But then we remembered that we had brought it must have been some rum. So somehow we ran back into the rain, back through the window, and consumed a lot. And then we said, oh man, there's definitely got to be another shot, because we finished the bottle, which we probably shouldn't have done. And we finished the bottle, and then we said, oh, we got to find some more. And then we went back out in the rain and climbed over a fence to get. And by the way, I had just recovered from my broken wrist. So climbing fences and climbing out windows wasn't an easy thing to do, especially in the slippery rain. But I did it because apparently I'm a raging alcoholic.
Yeah, nothing's going to stop you when you're in that mindset.
That's it, yeah. And also, before that show, I was facing a guy called The Greatest. I don't know if you've heard this story. I don't know if you've heard of The Greatest.
I was just going to say, is that his full moniker, The Greatest?
His wrestling name is The Greatest. TG for short.
Nice.
If you want to. And he wanted to... I'd heard that I was wrestling him, so I was like, okay, let me do some research on him. And then I saw his finisher move, which is the vertebraker. I haven't taken the vertebraker before.
Yep.
What doesn't help that little factoid is the fact that TG is he's probably a 5'7" man in looks like his late 40s, if I'm being generous.
Nice.
And, I'm a lot taller than that, and I'm thinking he's gonna crush me. And I think I spoke to him about that before the match, and I said, this is the day before the show. We put the ring up the day before the show, get out of the way. Spoke to him about it, and he was like, oh, it's no problem. I'll just put you in. I'll show you how to be in position for it. And I was like, okay. So he'll just carry me and lift me up to be in position for it, so I know how to take the vertebraker. And so we did. We were in the ring. He set me up. I was inverted in his arms, hooked for a vertebraker. I was like, oh, okay. So then he'll just kind of like hold me there, and then he would just drop me. Then he said, tuck your chin. And I was like, what? And then out of nowhere, he just dropped.
Jesus.
And just dropped me with the vertebraker.
Nice.
Out of nowhere.
How'd that feel? With that much notice.
I was in hysterics. If that's the only way to describe it. Because Chapman and Maverick, they just saw it from the outside, on the corner of their eye. And they lost their mind too. Laughing. Because they couldn't believe that I just received a vertebraker when they're just sitting outside talking, maybe just about trivial things, and I'm there being dropped on my neck by a 48-year-old 5'7" Italian guy that thinks he's Hulk Hogan.
That's brilliant.
What are the Italian fans like? Are they good crowd?
So that crowd, I think that was like their biggest draw, because that was a show that had Will Ospreay on it.
Cool.
So Ospreay came down. It had like Adam Brooks, Jonah Rock as well. So like it was an import heavy crowd. Ashley Dunn was there. We were like, so it's like 5 people that like us like Ashley Dunn, me, Chapman, Connor Mills, Maverick Mayhew. We're like imported, but we're not the draw. But then you got Will Ospreay that's there, and he's front and center on the poster. And that place was packed, and they were rabid for his match, and they were up for mine. I had 2 matches actually that day, and like they were really up for it. So like it's like a cool. It's such an interesting thing. It's like they've got like access to Progress and Rev Pro and PWG, and that's all the wrestling they watch.
Right.
And so they know the conventions of how the crowds are for those shows. So they are doing what the crowd are doing at those shows. And they want to see the wrestling that they see at those shows. So you pull out Canadian Destroyer, you're the best wrestler in the world. They love you. But I had so much fun there. So much fun.
Nice. Yeah, it's
Awesome.
interesting.
You forget about, like, obviously you think of WWE, touching the world and everything, and European countries and things like that, but you don't think of it. With streaming, anyone can watch anything, can't they? I don't really think of other countries watching things like Progress and things like that.
It's like people can go to powerslam.tv and use promo code GOT5. It's crazy, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I saw recently at Rev Pro you wrestled Chapman, so I imagine you guys are quite close. Was that a fun match to kind of work with a friend?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been wanting that match so long, singles match. The both of us have. Probably me even longer than him, because we kind of actually became friends by that Italy trip. He was the cruiserweight champion at the time, so like I just remember sharing a room with him as he had the title, and I'm being like, man, I remember asking him, what's it like to get booed? Be a young underdog champion that's getting booed. And but yeah, we really became close on that trip, and then we kind of like just like we'd always try and hang out at a show whenever we were on the same show, or I'd try and come down to a show that he's on to help out, or he'd come down to a show I'm on, and then like from there I just picture, man, I'd love to wrestle for Rev Pro. I'd love to wrestle in the cockpit, and my ideal situation would be a singles match with Chapman for my first singles match, and it happened. And so like I'm really happy with the match, and he said the same thing, and like I think we had loads of fun, and I think I've still got like a kind of like a scar on my neck for how many times he slapped me in the neck. But that's what you do with your buddies.
That's what you do. That's what friendship's all about. Exactly. And you mentioned about when he was getting booed and stuff. You are now getting booed yourself as the Battle Pro champion, right? How's that? How's that feel?
Yeah, I am. Well, it's interesting because like I've been at the time of recording this podcast, I've been champion for I think 70 days. I'd like to count it. I should probably go to cagematch.net or something, but I think it's 70 days. And my first title defense is tomorrow.
Ah, okay.
So,
I was going to say, you're being a bit confident because I always ask for a promo pic from wrestlers so we can put it up on the artwork and stuff. You sent me a promo pic with you with the Battle Pro Championship. What happens? What happens if you lose it? You're going to make us look bad.
No,
you're going to be out of date, man.
Let's not. Okay, we'll just edit it out.
We'll just put you holding someone else there. Okay, that works.
You know, like when you watch old wrestling shows and they put a hotline up or whatever, and it says no longer active across the number. We'll just put that across the belt.
Just blur it, yeah.
That'll work.
So like, I mean, like, the cash in was like the first time I got booed. Like I actually like cashed in a briefcase that I won in a Royal Rumble Money in the Bank ladder hybrid match.
Because I watched that and they did boo you. They went in. And that must be pretty nice because you're like, I'm doing my job right here if I'm getting this kind of reaction.
Especially at a family show.
Right.
There was some F-bombs being thrown that I've never heard. I remember just picturing it for months and months and months how it was going to be. And then like when it was the day that it was happening, I was like, man. I mean, my reaction is I'm doing what I'm doing, and then when I'm in that ring, I'm just terrified and also shaking because like it felt like an out-of-body experience what was going on and the reaction that I was getting and what I was doing. So like it's a new venture, this, and it's gonna be like it's completely like alien territory what I'm doing at Battle Pro, but I'm excited to keep doing it, to kind of just like be the main focus of a promotion, which is cool.
Yeah.
And see if I can like by me being the main focus, I can up the like the prestige of the title, even like the name of the promotion. If I can like get it out there more by me being champ, that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, that's. I think that's what everyone's attitude should be when they're the face of the company. It shouldn't be about I'm the champion. It should be how can I help elevate it. So it's a really cool kind of attitude to have towards it.
Well, yeah, because the better it looks, the better the promotion looks, the better I then in the end look, and everybody else on the show looks. And if it becomes a place that people want to wrestle, like I want to, one of my things is that I'd love to be just a guy that people want to wrestle. Like they'd look at me wrestle and they'd be like, man, I'd love to have a match with you. And if I'm a champion of a promotion, then they would want to have a championship match with me. If I'm like, hey, I wrestle here as the champion, then have more people want to come to Battle Pro, and I want more fans as well as wrestlers to be interested in coming to be a part of Battle Pro. That's my plan. Exactly. And my first match is against Johnny Storm tomorrow.
Nice.
Hater him.
Well, good luck with that one. And you get to be a dick, and who doesn't love being a dick?
Yeah. Right.
Right.
I've made a good career off that.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is, like, I think I always am when I'm in the ring, but I've been cheered, so I'm like, okay, all right, I'll take that. But this is the first time where like my actions have gone too far, where like, all right, yeah, you're a piece of shit.
Best way to be. And also, I want to quickly talk about your finisher because you do some awesome high flying stuff and some great moveset, and then your finisher is a single leg Boston Crab, which is quite an unusual finisher for someone to pick, especially in like modern independent wrestling. What made you go single leg Boston Crab? That's the one for me.
I have an older brother, and we would also wrestle when we were kids. Ignore the "don't try this at home" adverts.
I mean,
but
just
to be
did
fair,
horrendous stuff to each other, so don't worry about that.
Okay, well, not that kind of podcast. But,
some of it's unbiblical.
But yeah, I mean, like, so he's my older brother, and like, it's such a weird thing because it was like we were young. It's almost like we were working with each other up until the point that we both wanted to win the match. So it would like transform into a weird shoot kind of thing between these two kids. And like, because he's bigger than me, there's not a lot of moves I could do to him. But for some reason, one move that I could slap on was the half crab. And yeah, that was like the big thing that like I thought, oh man, okay, well I can put it on my older brother who's bigger than me, so like it's just a hold that I can use. And then again, with time came on in the video games, I think like one of my finishing moves early on in the video games in SmackDown 2, because it was on an unlockable new move, was the Osaka Streetcar.
Nice.
Yeah, it was just like you lift them up in like an inverted suplex, and you drop them on their feet, and then you give them a stunner. And I was like, well, that's awesome. Okay.
So unnecessarily complicated.
It's so funny because you put them back on their feet and then just give them a stunner. It's not like it's a flowing up in the air stunner. It's like up in the air behind you, then stunner. But like that's my finisher, and then the other one's a frog splash. Well, the lowdown to be precise, actually.
Nice.
Oh, and, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, but then I was like, okay, well, I can't do an Osaka Streetcar to people. I just can't.
Oh,
and
please
so I always,
do. Please just like one match, break one out.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
if you ever go back to Italy, I think the greatest at least deserves one.
He owes one. Yeah, I owe him an Osaka Streetcar.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it's one of those things, and you hear it a lot of times in like podcasts or interviews with wrestlers or stuff like that, where like you should have a move that you can hit on anyone, or you can put on anyone, and I just feel like it's so difficult to think of a new move or like a devastating move that like, why not just go the opposite route and go to something that's easy to slap on, basic, but it could still be effective, which is single leg crab. Because then also no one's going to be terrified of taking it the day before a show.
True.
That's very true. Yeah, you can work with anyone that way.
Yeah, exactly. Like again, like if TG went to Johnny Kidd and said, "By the way, my finish is a vertebreaker," or if he went to me and he said, "By the way," and I said, "By the way, my finish is a single leg Boston Crab," I think I know who'd be happy to wrestle.
That's a fair point.
So yeah, I mean, but then your point about it being like it's a weird move in modern wrestling, that was a thing that I got told by everybody. Because I was set on it before I started wrestling. I was set like this is going to be the finish move. When I start, this is going to be it. And everybody thought it was weird, but like I was just like, I don't know. I know. I remember one of my trainers said, "I'm not saying it won't be able. You won't be able to get it over, but it'll be really, really difficult to get it over." And I was like, I know. I accept the challenge.
But you got over. But what I love it. I think it's great that you have got that kind of submission move. I wish more people would implement submission moves as finishers because it just does look cool, especially when you do the lean back for the final lock-in and you get an instant tap. It gets a pop every single time.
Yeah, so it's always like, yeah, it's just a different way to like pull wrench back. I just love like, and like there was like a period of time where like in like 2002 or 3, where that was like the peak time where like Kurt Angle started to just do reversals into an ankle lock. And then he was just on fire, and his matches were my favorite matches because of him and Benoit. Like the matches he'd have with them where like he'd just slap on the finishing move out of nowhere, the submission move out of nowhere. And then Jericho would do it as well into the Walls Jericho. like different, like a roll up into it or this, that, and the other. And I thought, man, those are my favorite matches. Those are the matches that always like threw me in because you didn't know when the move was going to pop out. And then anytime it would, the crowd would go crazy. So I just thought, like, if I have a move where, like, I mean, it is like I can slap it on out of nowhere, but also I can just grab it, turn over, and I have it hooked in. Then, like, I've got all this variety. And in terms of, like, putting a match together, there's all different ways to slap it on, all different ways to, just take the fans on a ride by not knowing when the half grab might come.
I like that a lot.
I like that. You said about Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit. I mean, it was the same thing. Both like the crossface and the ankle lock had that quality, didn't it? Where you could just pop it out of nowhere. And you saying about the countering and stuff as well. Like Royal Rumble 2003, which is probably one of my favourite matches of all time, the Benoit Angle match there. And it's just poetry. The way they're countering each other's submission holds and rolling around. It's just perfect. I've never seen it done better than that.
Precisely.
Exactly. Because you've said that you want to have people want to work with you. Who out of the scene that we've got at the moment are you like? Who's your hit list? Should we say?
Oh man. Yeah, so people usually put out like those lists of like people they want to wrestle and stuff like that. And I have been fortunate enough to be on a few of them, which is really humbling, really cool. But then I've really like not wanted to do a list of my own because I don't mind who I wrestle. Obviously, it'll be cool to wrestle certain people, but then you can get so surprised with wrestling that like people who aren't on your list, but obviously you definitely want to wrestle. Like it just happened. Like for instance, like end of last year, I wrestled Chris Brooks in the singles in Portsmouth. So like that's obviously a guy I would always want to wrestle, but I never thought it would happen. So he wouldn't have been on a list of mine.
Yeah.
But having said that, there's so many on the scene that are like, I'm going to try and narrow it down to 5 in terms of just singles matches. Connor Mills, I only need a single with him. He's on fire this year. He's going to be on further fire for the rest of this year and the year beyond. I want to have a singles with him. The other guy is Jay Joshua.
Nice.
You guys have heard of Jay Joshua? Yeah, he's a young lion in Frontline, but he's also doing things in Attack. He's got Timothy Thatcher this Sunday, I believe.
Nice, that'll be good.
Attack in Bristol. He's just got like an insane amateur background, and he's like a small Jeff Cobb. Yeah. So like,
good description.
It's just one of those like, he's like a small Jeff Cobb, but he's a big guy, and he can just do the craziest suplexes. He's super athletic. He's gonna be something.
Well, I'm liking that.
Money is to say.
We're seeing more of that. Like we mentioned, you with Boston Crab, and obviously he's got his style, and also Jordan Breaks wrestles a very old school style. I'm just loving seeing that coming back. Wrestling. Yeah,
just like but it's just a cycle, really, with wrestling. Like, I mean, Jordan is a really good example of a guy who, it's so easy when you get into wrestling and you're like, man, I want to become successful. I want to get really good, but I want to be successful. So let me look at what is popular in the scene right now and let me be good at that. And then you'll see that on shows with people doing like whatever's popular is what everybody has a move. You know who's like really over at the moment because you can see if someone's doing a bicycle knee, like a Kenny Omega V-trigger, or just like ripcords for fun.
Yeah.
That's how you who's like doing well in wrestling. But then there's so many like negatives towards doing that, but at the same time, like, oh yeah, like I guess like the crowd goes crazy if you do a reverse Rana, so let me know how to do a reverse Rana. But like then you got Jordan Breaks, who I don't think he watches modern wrestling at all.
Right.
I really don't think so. He just watches like old World of Sport tapes because that's what he likes.
Yeah.
That's what he's into, and he just does nothing but research on that. He gets good at that. He wants to train at stuff related to that, and then he's near enough mastered that style that he's the only one that has mastered that style that's coming up now. So he's now going to become slowly but surely a hot commodity.
Yeah, completely. Because he can.
I think more wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you would have seen him, Jesse, but he's absolutely incredible. He wrestles a style that you love watching. Just technical, ground to the mat, proper old school wrestling. So we'll see if we bag him for a future one. But sorry, I interrupted you there. You're on a flow of your 5 people.
Oh, so like I've got Mills, Jay Joshua, Josh Bodum in a singles, because I want to die sometimes. Yeah, that would be. I've always wanted to wrestle Josh Burnham. He's just he's good, and it looks like it's painful, and I want to know if that's true. So I'd love to do that. Those are like the three that are like burning on my list. I haven't had a singles with David Francisco.
Okay.
I'd love to see how that would go. And he's a guy that's like improving. He's so experienced, but he's just like getting into his stride. I think he just got into his stride like end of last year, and even more so this year.
Didn't you have a 6-man with him?
I did in Battle Pro.
That's
I had a
the
6-man.
Yeah, but one-on-one.
But one-on-one singles, I'd like to see how that would go between he and I. And oh man, there's somebody in IPW who I just saw the other day, and Joe Nelson.
Okay.
Give me Joe Nelson, another young kid who's like, yeah, like anytime I see someone who's smaller than me, I just think, well, this is a rarity for one, and then number two, I think there's so many. He's not only he's stupid talented, but there's just so many things that I can imagine that he would be able to do that I could do, and it's just like a different match that I would be having where like it's not about me being undersized. It's about two guys who it's about the other guy being undersized, and I can show like stuff that I'm able to do with him. And I think the fifth one will be LJ Cleary. He's the Irish lad.
Yeah.
More than. Yeah. I haven't had a singles with him, but I've done a few things in the ring with him, and like he's a lot of fun. He's a cool man. So that'd be the fifth one. Those are the five.
Yeah. You just listed a lot of matches that I'm like, yeah, I'd like to see that. I don't know whether we should subject him to a top 5 now, because what we do is we always spring a top 5 on people in the end, but you listed 5 people you want to wrestle. So what are you feeling, Jesse? Do we be mean, or
That was a good top 5. You could, I don't know, what about with the theme? I know we haven't talked about women's wrestling at all, but this week we're going to do our top 5 women's wrestling matches. So what are your top 5 favorite women wrestlers?
nice?
Oh man. Okay. Currently, I'm going to say currently, just to make it all cool and interesting.
Cool. Doesn't have to be like WE, all of that stuff. Can be independents, whatever. All over the shop.
Okay. Tony Storm's definitely in there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
My favorite, I think one of my favorite wrestlers to watch, male or female right now, actually, is Shayna Baszler. I just love everything she's doing. It's like, anytime I watch a match of hers, I'm fully into it. She looks like fully into what she's doing. I believe everything she does, everything she says as well when she talks. I'm just into it. Like, I definitely
She's
have
great.
a preference for Baszler.
Yeah, she's great. A friend
Maybe
of
I should
mine.
say, but yeah.
A friend of mine met her when NXT did Download Festival.
Oh yeah.
And he was there, and she lives her gimmick, man. Like, even away from the matches and stuff, she was fully in character the whole time, and yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, she just doesn't. She just looks like she like loves training and hates people, which is great trait. Great
Yeah,
trait.
I have one of those things in common with her.
I love the idea of like she lives the gimmick, and I always hear that like, oh yeah, she's really into a character. Could just be a dick.
Well, I mean, there is that, isn't it? Yeah, like you say, yeah, man, she was really mean to me. I really love her devotion to. She's obviously just committing to it because I'm a great person.
Yeah, it's not me.
And I don't know why anybody would be mean to me.
The fact that we enjoy that probably taps into like some sort of childhood trauma we've all been through, I reckon.
You've been through.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Sorry, I'm projecting.
That's brilliant. So we're on 2, right? Okay. And hey, they had a hell of a match, Tony Storm and Baszler at like Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah, that was a great match.
Let's get 3 more in there. Kaylee Ray and Miko Satomura will fit 3 and 4, just because they had one of the best matches I saw live at Pro Wrestling Eve. What's it called? No, it wasn't called Sheevolution. On the during Super Strong Style weekend, they had the York Hall show, and I was live for that, and they just had a killer match. Kaylee Ray and Satomura. I want to watch it again, because that's how good it is.
Nice.
And just Mika Satomura is so good watching the Mae Young Classic.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I can't believe I haven't watched more of her stuff.
I always find it
She's
weird
yeah.
when, like, because obviously, like, Miko's done the tour around the UK and stuff, and for how big a name she is, especially with, like, 90s Japanese women's wrestling and stuff. And I think it was, like, the Dream Tag Team last year, so it was in, like, a hangar in Wolverhampton, and Miko Satomura comes out and wins the Fight Club Championship. And you just have those moments of, like, what's going on?
Isn't that
happening?
something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is the best. But yeah, she's crazy talented.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like one more. Man, top 5. This is a game I wish I was ready to play.
We like to spring them. We don't like people like, prepping.
Prepping, right? Okay. Let me think of a British wrestler then. Let me get a British wrestler in there.
And we always try and
Enjoy
time
watching.
people as well, because we've had some people
man.
take hours. Some people knock out the park straight away.
Oh man. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna go. Actually, no, someone in WWE. One of those 4 horsewomen. Which one? No, Asuka. Give me Asuka every day.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good shout.
Yeah, Asuka every day. Yeah, absolutely. That's a 5 right there.
That's a solid 5.
Awesome. Her match with Becky Lynch at the Royal Rumble was
Yeah.
the first Asuka match on the main roster that I think she really sort of tapped into what we all fell in love with in NXT. Do you know what I mean? It was great.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, actually, then the other one actually would be the one with Charlotte at WrestleMania. I really enjoyed that.
That
like,
was a
it's
great
one of
match.
those-
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Man.
Yeah, one of those hidden gems that, like, yeah. I think people remember the fact that that's a match that Asuka lost, but, like, the match itself was great.
Mm.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
That is a solid top 5. I'm going to get you to plug where you're coming up next, the social medias, where you can buy your merch. Because I got to say, that t-shirt of yours, merch game is strong. And that's always important. Like, I love that t-shirt of yours. So everyone go buy one. Please and thank you.
I mean, there really isn't many left. I think I might do a reprint. I was thinking of, like, a new design, but, like, I've got, like, my Now We Play one, which is very plain, just to, like, an homage to, like, a Just Bring It kind of t-shirt or an Austin 316 t-shirt.
Nice.
And I like that, and I like the large, loud
The crowd.
comic
yeah.
book artwork. So I think I might just, like, reprint those two, because I have heard people talk about wanting it, and I've actually run out of loads of sizes. So I will plug my website, which may or may not be down. Probably is down. But yeah, no. But it is the O.J.M.O.com, where you can get merchandise from me. But probably do it at a show. Not Battle Pro. I won't sell merch at Battle Pro because I don't like people. And go to the O.J.M.O. at Twitter, on Instagram, the O.J.M.O. even on Facebook. Follow me on all social media because I'll post different things. Maybe sometimes the same things, but different things on different platforms. Yeah, those are the 3 main ones that I'd like you all to follow, especially Twitter. I guess having loads of followers is an interesting thing to have. So
Makes it look cool,
if you want to
doesn't it?
look at my stuff. Yeah, exactly. So if you want to look at my stuff, that's a good place. I'll be defending my Battle Pro Championship tomorrow in Caterham for Battle Pro Wrestling, facing Johnny Storm. Tickets are still available. Go to buytickets.at/BattlePro, and you can see tickets for that show and the show after that on March 3rd, which will be in Sydenham, the normal place for Battle Pro, called Them's the Breaks, coined after something I said to Jordan Breaks when I cashed in on him. And yeah, I think. Well, actually, this weekend I've also got
I was going to
Frontline.
say, aren't you wrestling Frontline this weekend?
Yeah, I just put a promo out today. Frontline, I've got Cassius. I'm finally debuting for Frontline, which has been like such a hard-fought battle because I was not wanted for Frontline, and now I am wanted.
Perfect.
So, got a spot on the card, and I'm going to make sure that I am not forgotten. In fact, yeah, I'm really going to make sure that I make a statement on that show. So, come down to that. That's in Raynham in Essex. I think there's still tickets available for that. So we'll just pop down or go online. I don't know their website, but that'll be a sweet one.
Yeah.
And then if you're in Kent, if you're listening to this and you're in Kent, I'm there wrestling too on Sunday for Rumble Promotions. I don't know where or who I'm wrestling for, sorry, but it's in Sittingbourne and it's Rumble Promotions. So I've got a busy
You're
week.
all over the place. I'm liking this. And we'll be sharing on the Twitter, because Soul just uploaded the match between you and Ashmore. So we'll make sure that's on there, that people can check you out if they've not seen you before, which would be awesome. And yeah, thanks for coming on and having a chat with us, man. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I hope I was of note, of a good quality guest.
You've been one of the highest standard.
You've got a really nice, if you don't mind me saying, a really nice deliberate pace to the way you talk, which I've been really enjoying as you've been on here. It's nice.
Have you just been sitting back with a cup of tea?
Audio.
Yeah,
I think so.
Nice.
I'm actually just in my shorts and nothing else.
Well, and now I'm aroused.
There you go. That's what I'm there to do. I'm a pro wrestler.
Yeah, that's a good point. You said that you, I saw when I was doing my research, you have done an audiobook. So Jesse, you can buy the audiobook and listen to more of O.J.M.O.
Really? Awesome. Well, your voice, your voice perfectly lends itself to that sort of thing. So I'm glad you've done that.
There you go. So I'll plug that too. She's Not There by Tamsin Gray. It's a great story, great novel. If you get it on audible.com, I'm the one narrating it.
Amazing.
Sweet nothing's in your ear by me.
I like that. That's perfect. Thank you so much for coming on and telling us your stories and all that kind of stuff. I will probably see you next at the next Pro Wrestling Soul, so I'll come over, say hello. You can even have a sticker if you want. We have... Yeah! That's what you get for coming on these podcasts. No monetary value.
Oh,
but
boy.
You get a sticker.
Look at that.
Cool. Thank you, buddy.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Cheers,
Thanks, Max. Thanks, Jesse.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Are you ready?
Oh, hell yeah. You fans can stick it, brother. Who's your daddy, Montreal?
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Me! Woo! My God! Gene!
Hello!
Did you say Alan or hello?
I don't know. It was somewhere in the middle. We're smashing these. I'm smashing these intros to each section today.
You really are. Like the pause there. Is it me?
Yeah.
Am I going?
He was nice, wasn't he?
The O.J.M.O. Go check out his shit that he plugged at the end because he's been going places.
It's going to be a big deal. And find Tamsin Gray's book on Audible, read by him.
Wow, did you write down the name?
No, I know Tamsin Gray, the authoress.
Oh, I see. I'm not familiar.
No, I'm an educated man.
So I've been told.
By me.
Yeah, over and over again. So, yeah, that was a great interview. It was lovely to have a chat with him. And if you can get to any of his shows, check him out on Twitter and go and watch them. But now we're going to talk about women.
Yes,
Yay!
ladies.
Jesse's favourite subject. So we've done a top 5 previously where we discussed our top 5 favourite women's wrestlers. And that was a good list. Came up with some good shit. Smashed it. So we thought this time, let's focus on purely female-centric matches. And that's what we're going to do. And as you know, if we have a crossover, we play a drop and then that negates that person's pick and we talk about it together. Could we have done like Lillian Garcia or a famous promo from Trish or whatever? No, we decided to go with a man. But there's a reason for it. If anyone watched the...
It's not really a reason. It's just...
We just find it really funny.
And it made us laugh. Yeah, that's the only reason.
It's not add depth to this. Halftime Heat happened during the Super Bowl. Very entertaining match, spot heavy, craziness going on. And Shawn Michaels made it very apparent that one of his strings to his bow is not commentary.
No, we love Shawn. He's one of my favourites of all time, as he is everyone's. But, commentary. His voice does not lend itself... His guttural voice does not lend itself to calling fast-paced matches.
So, at the end of the show... what's his face from 205, wherever he's from, was doing his like outro, and we are NXT, and HBK clearly didn't know what to do, so he just went, yeah, yeah, we are NXT. Let's do it. So if we have a crossover, you're gonna hit Shawn Michaels, get very excited about our pick, and be like, yeah.
Play it again.
You want it again? Okay.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah!
So much
I love it.
enthusiasm. Lovely. Because you've done the intros, I'm going to go first.
Oh, really? You're the boss now, are you?
That's the trade-off you get for wanting to be in the spotlight.
All right, fine. Go on then.
So what we're discussing this week is top 5 women's matches.
Do the match.
These are our favourites, not the most important matches in history. You know we always have to have that
Yes,
disclaimer, Jesse.
we don't have to add that.
We do, because we get bitches moaning.
Well, we can bitch that, can't we?
My number 5 is fairly recent from last year. It's a general match including 30 women. It's the 2018 Women's Rumble match.
Good shout. I didn't
Great
even
shout.
consider. When you think of match, I don't always think of Rumbles as matches. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, good shout. Which one? Sorry, this year's or last year's?
Last year, so the very first
Last
one.
year.
So this was
Nice.
first Women's Royal Rumble. It main evented the whole Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And as far as first goes, it's amazing. It was a great celebration of wrestlers from the past, wrestlers in the present. You had people like Trish, Lita, Tori, Molly Holly, Vicky Guerrero even came out.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
I'd missed excuse me screams.
Vicky Guerrero, by the way. Can we talk about Vicky Guerrero?
Of course we can.
And WWE and their sort of, I don't know, they're such carnies, so they give, like, it's like, oh, Eddie's died tragically, so we're going to give you a job, Vicky. And she's like, oh, that's really good of you. Thank you for looking after, my children and my family and stuff. It's like, yeah, we're going to turn you into the most hated person in WWE. Everyone's going to call you a fat pig and just generally be horrible to you. And that's so WWE, isn't it, to do that? But then when people say you're being horrible to Eddie's widow, they just go, yeah, but we're paying her, we're giving her a living, and to her credit, she was really good, right? Like, she's really, really good heel. Who knew that was in her? It's just kind of a shame that Eddie didn't know that she had all that untapped potential.
Well, if you go from the first appearance of her during the SummerSlam feud with Ray and Dominic, and that up in the ladder match, where the fuck is Vicky? Still one of my favourite thing ever.
But even her, bits backstage with Eddie and stuff, and she did her best. But she really came into her own when she turned heel. I still occasionally, I probably watch it more than I should, watch Vicky Guerrero's last proper appearance on Raw when she had that mud fight.
Oh yes, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this was a great Royal Rumble, and there were many other competitors as well as Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah, quite a few important ones, really. Kind of staples of the modern era.
Saying where the fuck is Vicky? Where the fuck was Victoria?
Right, and I was so disappointed that this year, because she's announced her retirement year as 2019. We didn't get a Victoria, because everyone kind of overlooks how important she was to the pre-women's revolution of when you had people like Molly Holly, Trish, Lita. Victoria was leading the charge with all of that. And
she was awesome.
Yeah. Broke my heart, it did, Jesse. Broke it.
Her and Stevie Richards.
Oh, with the infamous WrestleMania 19 chair shot, bounce
chair
off the
shot
rope.
to his own head. Yeah. Oh, God, I love that.
Love it so much.
With JR commentating, he just goes, idiot.
One of my favourite things about this Rumble is, so everyone kind of got their chance to shine, and I thought they just did it really well, especially with it being their kind of first outing. But one of the standout moments for me was obviously when Trish entered the Rumble. She must have been like number 30, I think.
She was, yeah.
Yeah. But you had Trish and Mickie James, and the crowd reaction, and mine and Jesse's reaction, because that's one of our favourite guilty pleasure feuds is Trish and Mickie, and that pop gave me goosebumps. It did.
It was great. It was such a cool moment, and I don't even think it's a guilty pleasure. I think it was a really, really well done storyline, the feud between those two.
Definitely, and just like the men's Royal Rumble previously, the right woman won. Asuka eliminated Nikki Bella and became the first ever Royal Rumble winner. Challenged Charlotte, as OJ said, to kind of go on and have a great match at Mania. Unfortunately, not the result we wanted, but whatever. And it was so nerve-wracking having Asuka and Nikki Bella kind of in that. They mirror copied the men's match and the women's match. Let's give someone that the fans don't want to win and they've been in the spotlight for ages versus someone that they really love and admire. And they did it very similar with this Royal Rumble. They pretty much mirror imaged the two Rumbles again, but it worked.
Yeah, kind of. Except I have to say, with the Women's Rumble, I didn't have any suspense. When it was down to the Bellas and Asuka, I was like, oh, Asuka's winning. Asuka's definitely winning. Because we sort of knew that Nikki and Brie neither of them were planning to be around. You sort of knew that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, Asuka's definitely winning. Whereas when Roman's in the ring, there's always a very real chance he's going to win.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. I just thought it was a great match. Everyone got a cool moments. Naomi doing a Kofi. Just loads of really like awesome little spots that happen in it. I wanted to bring this up when we did our top 5 favorite Rumble matches, but I had to squeak the men's into that one. So I'm glad I've been able to just say how good this one has been. I preferred this one to this year's.
You know what? I love them both for completely different reasons.
I agree with that,
This year's obviously didn't rely on nostalgia, which is a good thing.
This year relied on like the up and coming women and
and I think they all smashed it as well. I think they're both great Rumbles. To be honest, I think I'd pick a different one depending on my mood every day out of these two Rumbles.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. What's your number 5, Daddy-O?
This is perfect. This has come in really nicely. So my number 5 is Trish Stratus versus Mickie James from WrestleMania 23.
Hey, good choice.
Hey, yeah, there we go. So this is the start of why that moment in the Women's Royal Rumble 2018 gave us goosebumps. Mania 23 was mental, right? It's like the most crazy WrestleMania.
Peter Gabriel did the theme tune. That's the level we're talking.
Peter Gabriel did the theme tune. President Trump was heavily involved. This is the one with Edge and Mick Foley with Lita in the crazy hardcore match with like flaming tables and shit, which you just didn't see in WWE ever. So stupidly, like that's like dangerous, independent, crazy shit. They did it for their biggest show of the year.
Yeah.
What else was mental? Is this the year that? No, it's not. Is it the year that they had the big women's battle royal as well? But yeah, some crazy matches. But this one it's not anymore. But at the time, I would say it is the best women's match WWF had put on.
Definitely.
I just think, and Mickie James, it's disgusting how young she was here. She was like 20, 21 or something. Yeah. And she was playing the stalker of Trish, like super fan of Trish. And then she played this kind of, and then she turned heel and did it in this psycho stalker way and played it so well. She was genuinely creepy. And just the promo package, if you go back and watch it, is amazing. Trish played it really well as the face. But this was was it in Chicago, this WrestleMania?
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it? And the fans were very Chicago. So through this match as well, everyone was backing Mickie. Everyone was behind Mickie, and Mickie reacted to it, which is great because I think like in WWE and stuff, they get told not to do that now. If you're getting cheered when you should be booed or vice versa, they just say, "Oh, pretend that they're doing what you want them to do." But Mickie was responding off the crowd during this match, which I thought was awesome, and acknowledging that they were cheering her. And Trish did a great job. You know, she obviously wasn't getting cheered as much as she would have liked, but she was a fantastic wrestler at this point and did a very good job. Yeah. Mickie was a good wrestler, still is a good wrestler today. And obviously the infamous moment that is cut out of the network, but you and me watched this live together, I believe. Did. And it was a moment that made us look at each other and
did she just do that? Oh my god.
Yeah. When she lifts Trish Stratus by the crotch area and then runs her fingers across her tongue in the international symbol of oral sex on a lady.
That pop.
And yeah, oh god, the pop from the fans was insane for that. It was just such a good moment. And not even like, you sort of talk about how divas were sexualized and stuff back then. The way Mickie James did it wasn't that sexualized. It was kind of it added to the sort of her scary persona, and I think it really worked for what it was.
I mean, later in the night you had Tori Wilson and Candice Michelle in a Playboy pillow fight, but what happened in the Trish Mickie match was much more hardcore.
Yeah, it was. It was great, and I think we saw like a few thousand Chicago boners pop.
That's what that sound was. I've always wondered, is this the edit? I loved the crowd because that was kind of the first match it happened in where the crowd were just like, fuck it, we're going to cheer and boo who we want. And that didn't really happen before, at least in my memory of WE wrestling. And JR just not really knowing how to react to it, of just like, wow, this is going completely the opposite way of the storyline we're trying to tell on commentary. And they're supporting it. But it just, I feel like that WrestleMania could have been such just a weird dud if that the crowd hadn't have done what they'd done that night. Because don't forget Triple H and John Cena, and then who can forget Shawn Michaels versus Mr. McMahon?
Yeah.
Fucking weird pay-per-view.
Really weird.
Do you remember on the cover as well, it was like John Cena giving Booker T a bulldog, and they didn't even have remotely a storyline together.
John Cena, yes! Yeah, that was really weird. We're getting our wires crossed here. So this match was Mania 22, not 23. I made a mistake. Sorry. Yeah. And Trump was the 23 one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
sorry, that's my fault. Yeah, but 22. It had Booker T and John, and I don't know why. So Booker T, I believe, wrestled Benoit at this Mania.
No, he wrestled Boogeyman in a 2-on-1 with Sharmella.
Boogeyman, that's right. And it was it was Benoit JBL, I think.
Yeah.
And yes, Booker T, Boogeyman. Booker T doing an amazing,
but not
being
just
so
Booker
terrified.
T. It was Booker T and Sharmella in a handicap match.
Yes, it was. Yeah, that's weird. John Cena bulldogging Booker T, and just no relevance. Really strange.
No relevance, but yeah, absolutely fantastic match, and made you just, because this was kind of Mickie James's debut in a way. I think she had like a couple of matches, but they were very quick and they were storyline driven. This was like the first time we got to see what Mickie did. So,
yeah, and she smashed it.
Absolutely smashed it. She's been around ever since, kind of. But my number 4, again, segues again, involves Trish Stratus. It was the first time ever that women had main evented Monday Night Raw. It was Trish Stratus versus Lita.
Ah, good sound.
Yeah, I was expecting it. Yeah.
No, afraid not. It's not the first time women had headlined Monday Night Raw. That honor is actually held by Lita and Stephanie McMahon.
Really?
But it was very interference heavy with like Triple H and The Rock and things like that. So they kind of don't count it because what it was really doing was feeding a lot of the male superstar storylines.
Ah, okay. So
whereas this is the first sort of proper
women one-on-one
match.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, so this Trish and Lita, for people who don't know, were two of the most popular wrestlers in the women's division.
Who's listening to this and doesn't know?
I've told you many times, people don't know shit that we go on about, and I don't understand why they listen, but they just like the company. Hello, this is for you.
Lonely people.
Hello, nice to see you. But they had an absolutely incredible match. Trish had a nose guard on because she was saying that Lita broke her nose and that's why she couldn't get involved in stuff. Trish was coming in as champion. This was in Lita's home state of North Kakalaki, and she was determined to win the title because there'd been shenanigans. And
Trish wearing that nose guard awoke something in me, by the way.
What doesn't awake stuff in you?
Yeah, you're right. I like some disgusting things.
So, fuck you. Was on a flow then. So she was in the mask and stuff, and it was a very quick match. In all honesty, it was 10 minutes. It kind of sucked that they were given such a short amount of time. But what they fit in that time was some damn good storytelling and just really, they were just urgency to it, and they just had to get everything done, and it just worked. The thing that they replayed, I counted 6 times in the match, was when Lita goes for the suicide dive and does nearly commit suicide because she just goes, fuck it, I'll go through the middle rope because I don't need to do the woman's underneath the bottom one, and she just goes straight on her face and her body bends in a way that, and they play it 6 times, and every single time I go, aye.
Yeah, and she was fine. She said, I saw interviews with her afterwards. She was I have no idea why, but I'm fine. It didn't
After
really
neck
hurt.
surgery, all of that stuff. She just accordioned snapped back to normal, and it was all good.
Do you know how she broke her neck, by the way?
Yes, she was on a talk show.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, and she like slipped. There's a story I heard.
No.
Go on then.
That's just not true. She was a stunt double on Dark Angel. That Jessica
That's
Alba.
a TV set.
You said chat show.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
I meant TV show.
You stupid man. Yeah. So she was on Graham Norton. And she
then smack.
She was in the chair and Graham pulled the lever. He went back and she broke her neck. Dark Angel. She was just like rehearsing or something, and broke her neck on set because she was trying to do a Hurricane Rana on someone who had zero wrestling training. Very similar to how you broke your collarbone, in fact.
Yeah, guys, don't do Hurricane Ranas with people.
Just don't do Hurricane Ranas if you're incapable.
Yeah. Fucking muddy again. I've been really good at like muting my microphone when I'm getting a coughing attack, but like you just get me with something out of the blue.
Dude, yeah, sorry, I'm gifted.
That is unfortunate for her, definitely. And this match ended with Lita getting the Twist of Fate, or I think it was a reverse Twist of Fate.
The extreme Twist of Fate. That's extreme with an X.
Oh,
That's
capital.
Not started extreme with an E. Yeah, exactly.
This was after Trish like nailed her with the face mask and revealed that she hadn't had her nose broken and all this, and King was very excitable and JR was getting annoyed with him. You know, peak WE of yeah. And then
can you imagine? So so back then, what?
So you just went like Vince McMahon as we discussed last week. In your house.
Can you imagine? Nowadays, instead of monitors, they basically have iPads, right? Or like little flat. So they've obviously got their own little stands and stuff. Back in JR and King's Day, back then, they had full-on monitors, like these grey, long, thick sort of screens. And so they obviously had a good use, because during matches like this, the table wouldn't tilt from King's massive erection when he's watching these matches. Now, with these flat screen stuff, they'd be falling over all the time, wouldn't they, with King watching women's matches?
Is that why they took him off commentary?
I reckon that's what it was. His erection was just... Yeah, his erection was going through more tables than the Dudleys.
It was fine when we were watching wrestling. Like, the shit King would come out with was, you'd go, oh, King. But I listen back now, and it just hurts my soul.
I did more than went, oh, King. I agreed with him vehemently. I was backing it. But yeah, you're right. It hasn't aged well.
No, not at all. It kind of kills a lot of great, especially in this one as well. It's just him pawning over Trish. It's, really, really uncomfortable. I can't wait for his Me Too to come out.
Do you remember when he called Goldust a faggot? Just on Raw in the middle of the thing. That was, obviously that doesn't age well at all.
Yeah, he's a special case as our King, bless him. But Lita eventually wins and becomes the women's champion in her hometown, and the crowd go absolutely mental, and it's great. It's just a great little match that kind of, we talk about the modern women's revolution, and you can't forget your history.
No, you can't forget your history. It's moments like that, and it's kind of a shame that she fucked Edge, because obviously she became an amazing heel off the back of that and stuff, but she was never. That was the end of her career as a fan favourite when all that came out, and it's sort of a shame, because this shows that she really could be a real top babyface,
Oh, definitely, yeah.
There you go. Hey, listen to me. Edge is like your favourite.
Oh, that's a new thing. That's good. Okay, go on.
What's that? What's a new thing?
Oh, listen to me.
Mummy. Listen to me. I'm an only child. So, Edge, as much as you love Edge, do you agree with me that he owes all of his success to Lita?
No.
No, you do. Because when all that happened, Lita is the one that gave Edge all this major heat. Edge became a massive star when all this Lita stuff came out, and it's because he was able to become this massive heel, and it's all down to Lita being a phenomenal valet. I think Edge should thank Lita every day for getting him over as a main event star. He owes it all to Lita, in my opinion.
We will agree to disagree. What's your next one?
We'll ask Twitter, see what they think about that, or Reddit.
Don't bring them into this.
They don't deserve it, do they? I'm going a bit hipster and old school, but I know you're a hipster twat as well, so this might very well be a crossover. This is from one of my favourite pay-per-views of all time, for my own personal reasons more than actual match quality, but this is a very good match. It's from WCW World War III, 1995. Bull Nakano and Akira Hakuto versus Mayumi Osaka and Cutie Suzuki.
It's not, but I remember speaking about it when we did top 5 women, because we both had Bull Nakano. I'll have a bit of Bull.
We did. My phone has, in my notes, has auto-corrected it to Bill Nakano, which is nice. My
phone wallpaper is Bull Nakano, so there you go.
Oh, nice. Mine is Bruce Springsteen. This is a great match, great tag match. I actually watched it earlier today, and it is brilliant. It's stupidly dangerous. There's a lot of dropping on your heads, but they're Japanese, so they're okay for that. And it's sort of a bit dated now because we've seen some great women's wrestling recently, but for its time, I think it was absolutely incredible. It was WCW showcasing Japanese women to the US, really. Remember we were talking the other week about Mike Tenay when they sort of just get him in for specialist matches.
Yeah.
They got him on commentary with the Weasel and Tony Chavion. And
that's a joke from last week.
And it is. It's a callback, people. It's from the Book of Revelations, people. And I just think it's a great match. It showcases 4 incredible talents. What's his name? I've completely lost my mind's gone to jelly in the last 5 minutes.
Got all excited, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Sonny Ono is at ringside, which is a detractor for me because he gets on my tits. I hate Sonny Ono. But aside from that, it's all good.
It's a great match, but I wish there could have been more of Bull and especially Akira. They're just absolutely phenomenal. I can watch Akira matches until I'm blue in the face. They're just so stupidly talented, the two of them.
Yeah, amazing. And oh my god, I've completely blanked his name. What's his name?
I have no idea.
The best commentator of all time.
Bobby Heenan?
Bobby Heenan! Jesus Christ, was that
Wow.
me? I know! What's going on? Why did I forget one of my favourite people? You know when your brain just goes weird sometimes?
I always get it when people go, they'll just ask me, what's thingy from that movie that you love and you know exactly every moment of? The minute they go, no, I don't know, never seen it.
Yeah, they're testing you, really. Yes, Bobby Heenan, obviously. I love you, Bobbies. He is on commentary for this match, and with Tony Shabazava. And he is in King's role, like we were just talking about, but he does it perfectly. He makes jokes, he makes sort of a few jokes about them, but doesn't over-sexualize and still comments on how stunning the actual work is, the actual wrestling. And he just does everything right that King does wrong with women's matches. This is a perfect example of it. His commentary is brilliant. When Akira Hakuto comes out with her big Japanese mask on and big pink gown, the first thing Bobby Heenan says is, "Oh, Tony, your missus is here." And talks about how Mean Gene is jealous of Bill Nakano's hairdo, which I love the idea of Mean Gene having a Bull Nakano style Jedward haircut.
Oh, there's she faces Alundra Blaze at SummerSlam, and the gel, it's just unreal how she does her hair. And for that whole match, it was only 10-12 minutes long, but it just doesn't lose shape.
No, it's amazing. Whatever she was using, it worked.
Yeah, they should have hired her. Sponsor off that one.
Yeah, she was actually sacked from WF for being caught with copious amounts of cocaine.
Nice.
Yeah.
That makes me like her even more.
Yeah, right. It's only a crime if you get caught.
Well, yeah, apparently. Anyway. Excellent choice. My number 3 is when I first started getting into NXT, This was the first NXT takeover I watched, and I believe when I came and visited Jesse, this was the first match I showed him, which was like a rarity, because normally you're like, hey, check out these cool men that are wrestling, but I showed him a women's match first, and I believe it got you back into the whole wrestling scene.
It did. It was between this and Finn Balor, Adrian Neville as well, which was on the same card.
There you go.
It was those two matches.
NXT TakeOver Rival. It was Charlotte Flair versus Bayley versus Banks versus Lynch. The 4 horsewomen going for the NXT Women's Championship. Flair was champion at the time, and this was the 4 horsewomen having their really only time that they've all faced each other at the same time.
Yes, and it's awesome.
It's so good. It's like... I had a friend say, like, you better put this match on that involved some of the horsewomen. I was like, it's good. I'm not going to mention it in case it's in yours later. I was like, it's good, but it doesn't top TakeOver Rival. The timing of their spots in this match is absolutely unreal. Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks had like an alliance going into this. Lynch was kind of the newbie coming in. Sasha Banks was ratchet as fuck, and it was great. I miss Ratchet Sasha, we all do. And just those two working together at the start when they throw Charlotte into the LED board and break it, and they both go for the cover simultaneously, and then it just breaks down, and Becky Lynch does Bexploder suplex and sends Sasha fucking flying.
Yes.
Like miles away. But just the timing spots between all 4 of them is just, it's so good. And if like people haven't gone back and watched this one, it's NXT TakeOver Rival, and it is just unbelievable of a match between the 4 of them, and just showcases why they started, what they did eventually start, and this was a great kind of kickoff for all of them.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. This is very much I mean, I know, like, you could obviously go back and point at many matches to sort of say, oh, this was when it was the start of the women's revolution or whatever the fuck, but this match, there've been good women's matches before it, obviously, but this was like a glimpse into the future. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, oh, all 4 of these, none of these women are particularly established, but they're working their tits off, and we can see that, and it's cool that all 4 of them are doing very well. Although, like, Becky Lynch being the biggest draw of the 4 is something I would not have predicted back then.
No, it's so crazy, and
not in a million years.
Just the whole change that they've all been through. Overall of it, I would have said Sasha would have been the main draw overall. Maybe even followed by Bayley at that point. But to have Lynch come out, because Lynch is the only one that never actually held the NXT Women's title out of the 4 horsewomen. Yeah. She had that great match with Sasha, and they kind of didn't really use it much after that.
No.
So, yeah,
poor Becky.
I know, poor Becky, but and this was before she even had like a gimmick. She was just Becky Lynch, and she came out with BL on her chest, and that was it. I think this was just in between the Irish dancing and the proper steampunk. Because I think the proper steampunk...
she debuted the steampunk against Sasha Banks in that brilliant match that you just mentioned. That's the first time she ever came out.
And the crowd standing ovation, and they just kept singing her song, and you went, okay, this is the Becky we're going to get behind.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And eventually in this match, Banks gets the win with... I miss her, like, really savage Banks statements where she was, like, almost make them into a pretzel, the way she yanks back on it.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful. And she doesn't actually win with that. She hits 2, takes the other 2 girls out, and then does kind of a crucifix roll-up to get the pin on it. And I just thought that was kind of a nice touch.
Was a nice touch. We love Sasha. I miss Ratchet Sasha, as you said.
Oh, she's just... When you've got someone who's that naturally good as a heel... do you remember when it was like her and Bayley at Respect, and she made Izzy cry?
Yes.
One of my favourite moments. She said that so yes... Good. I do remember.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, it was great. I fucking... it seems harsh to say because she's like a child, but the way that family are sort of taking advantage of their accidental fame amongst wrestling fans is really not on. I don't like it at all.
That's what they all do, isn't it? You know, you look at Frank the Clown, Brock Lesnar guy, all of them. If they get like any minute of fame, the only one that worries me, you know, the guy... Every pay-per-view for the past 3 years, long hair, sits with his mum, never tries to get himself over. He wasn't at the Royal Rumble.
Oh shit, is he okay?
This is the concern.
Yeah, right.
So
Oh
maybe
God,
2019.
well, best wishes to.
Yeah, it's not his year, but that concerned me. But
Yeah.
actually, back to the women. Sorry, those four put on absolutely stunner of a match, and that's why they became the Four Horsewomen. And in my opinion, this is where the women's revolution started. Fight me, AJ Lee. Fight me, Paige.
I personally think the women's revolution started with. Oh, it's so difficult to say, isn't it? Do you remember Paige and Emma had an NXT match?
That was great, yeah.
That was very good. Natalia and Charlotte as well, with Ric Flair and Bret Hart in the corners. That was funny. Okay, my next one. Again, this is great. So we're syncing nice stuff. So a lot of what you just said can be used with this one as well, except this is Charlotte versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania 32.
This was the match I wasn't going to mention because it might be in your list. So,
well, there you go. It is. So whilst... first off, I will say this is the only good match from WrestleMania 32.
God, yes.
I think it was a terrible card. Top to bottom, with the exception of this match. I would agree with you that the quality of wrestling might sort of be better paced in the NXT match that was just in your list, but the fact that this was their first WrestleMania, all three of their first WrestleMania, and it felt really important and special that the girls were so high on the card and put on such a great match. I loved the entrances. This was before they really did the Sasha Banks likes Eddie Guerrero thing to death. And Sasha came out with sort of Eddie Guerrero inspired gear, which was really awesome. I thought it looked really, really cool. And I thought it was a really nice touch at the time. And then obviously they just completely milked that shit. Yep. Charlotte had a robe that was designed from the same material, just like remade from the same material robe that Ric Flair wore in his retirement match at Mania 24, which is pretty cool. And Becky Lynch just came out looking awesome as ever. Charlotte hits that mental like corkscrew moonsault to the outside in this match.
Let's not quickly undersell what happened at the start, though. This was the retirement of the Divas Championship.
Oh, yeah, of course.
This was Lita came out and she unveiled the Women's Championship. This was, the pinnacle of we're not divas anymore, you're superstars, you're on the same... And what a great match for them to be like, yeah, we're on the same steading, we're going to steal the goddamn show.
Yeah, and they did. It's, easily the best match. And, just absolutely smashed it. Ric Flair, I thought, did a brilliant job as
took a bump?
Heel Charlotte at the time's valet. He did take a bump against Doctor's orders. I thought he did an amazing job. And he clung on to Becky Lynch at the end, didn't he, to stop her
Sasha,
breaking up.
Yeah.
Oh, Sasha, sorry, to stop her breaking up Charlotte's submission, was it? And, it's just fantastic. Great match. A real standout occasion on a very bland, disappointing evening.
Yeah, the rest of that page, I can't even tell you what happened. I think maybe the Money in the Bank at the start stands out.
Oh yeah, Zack Ryder won it, didn't he? That was
and
good.
Kevin
and
Owens
that was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens
in the corner.
Yeah, yes, and that was their first Mania, those two as well. So it was really cool to see them sort of come out in such a big place. Entrances in that larger place, when you see these guys you've been rooting for, is awesome.
Yeah, but besides that, I cannot tell you what was on that card for the life of me.
Headlines by Triple H, Roman Reigns. That's how good it was.
Jesus.
Yeah. Boy, they.
But yeah, the three of them absolutely just smashed it, and I love watching it. This was honestly my number 3 up until about 30 minutes before we went on air, and I was like, no, I've got to put Takeover Rival in there. I've got to talk about that match because it was so important for getting us both back into it properly. But this match, it definitely stands out, and as you say, Ric Flair does a hilarious job as he always does, and you got to love him for it.
He's amazing,
and
you absolutely do.
And each one having a submission hold as well. I really like that in a triple threat kind of dynamic. Each one could get the other one to tap out.
Do you remember when they all came up to the main roster for the first time on Raw, and Stephanie McMahon brought them out because she has to be involved with everything women and important, and there was so they came out and basically rushed 3 of the main roster girls, the Bellas and Foxy maybe I think, and there was a moment when all 3 of the NXT girls had all 3 of them in a submission at the same time in the ring. Obviously a rehearsed spot, sort of, directed towards hard cam and stuff, but it was just a great image. It was really cool that they all locked that in at the same time. It was just a really nice moment.
Oh, love it. Excellent choice. I'm glad we both covered those matches because I was worried it wasn't going to get in there. Now it's time for my really smarky one. If you'll allow me, and this is like proper. You're going to judge me.
Is it? Oh, for God's sake. You're going to go like, let me guess.
No, you can't.
I know I can't guess the match, but it's going to be like Rev Pro 2015 or something.
No. So if you remember back to when we did the top 5 women's wrestlers, my number 1 was Akira Hokuto because she's fucking phenomenal. So I was like, I can't have my number 1 wrestler and not have one of her matches in here. So the match I've gone for is Akira versus Shinobu Kandori at AJW Dream Slam 1993. Would you care to comment?
I can't pretend that I can't even begin to pretend that I've seen it. I have no idea what's
happening. I need everyone to kind of watch this match, and I'm going to share it on our Twitters because good fuck is this a violent match. It's disgusting, really.
You're already selling it,
it's
baby.
The blood. It's violent, Jesse. It's violent. Because everyone talks about how at the moment we've got the women's revolution, but if you look back to Japanese women's wrestling in the 90s, that was like what we're seeing today, but more hardcore. It's just like really up there. So Akira, she's a really scrappy, vicious woman. Every single match of hers is fantastic. Kandori could very well be Minoru Suzuki in drag. I'm not too sure. She's got that viciousness to her. Actually, she's probably more vicious than Suzuki is. There's a statement.
Have you ever seen the Suzuki Asuka match?
Yes, he kicks her in the head a lot.
It's really uncomfortable.
It is.
Suzuki just full on like beats up Asuka for an uncomfortably long amount of time.
Just keeps kicking her in the head. It's awful.
Yeah.
In this match, do you remember the recent spot at Wrestle Kingdom where it's Naito and Jericho? Naito gets drilled on the table and it leaves like a dent, and he just hits it really horribly.
Yeah, he lost like a massive patch of hair, I think. He put a photo up on Instagram.
Well, that happens in this match. They do it on the announcer's table, and then the camera zooms in at just like this. You know when you crack the top of an egg? That's what the announce table looked like. Just that's how hard they hit it. And Akira just pisses blood for the rest of the match. Just like full on crimson down her face. They start fighting through the crowd. Eventually she kicks Kandori so hard in the face that she gets busted open. It's nothing to what Akira has though. And then they make it back to the ring, and the problem with this ring is it's that, you see it in like Shimmer and all those kind of places. It's just that kind of boxing style ring. There's no give to it. It's just like there's a cover to it, and that's it. And they're just flinging themselves all around this, power bombing, kicking, and it's kind of got that sloppy exhaustion that I really like in my wrestling, and it's just like stuff's not landing, but it's not landing because they fucked up. It's not landing because they're just knackered.
Right.
So it's that kind of style when it gets towards the end, and by the end they're just exhausted. They're so gassed out by the top of it, and it's just a really violent, striking match. If you love the New Japan hard-hitting style that you see from Shibata, Ishii, Suzuki, this is the match for you because it's like that but tenfold from the female standpoint, and it really shows you how good 90s Japanese wrestling was. So I'll be making sure to share that. And also a side note, Akira Hokuto had the nickname Dangerous Queen. Do you want to know how she got that nickname?
Because she's a massive Freddie Mercury fan and is also a murderer.
Obscure, but no. She broke her neck in the first fall out of a 2 out of 3 falls match, worked the rest of the match while holding it in place.
Holy shit, Kurt Angle salutes you, madam.
Kurt Angle who? With his froob neck, he ain't got shit.
Yeah. What flavour froob do you reckon?
Oh, he's strawberry. The colour he goes, he's a strawberry froob.
I always thought he was more peach.
He's a peach. Can you get a peach froob?
I don't know, I hope so. It sounds delicious.
It does. So go check that out. It's on YouTube, Akira Hokuto versus Shinobu Kandori. It will be on our Twitter. You won't be sad that you watched it.
Good choice, probably. I don't know, because I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it is. I trust your judgment. Okay, my number 2 is NXT again. It's NXT Takeover Brooklyn 3. Asuka versus Ember Moon.
Oh, excellent.
Ooh,
sorry,
So-
you surprised me with that one.
So this was cool. This was actually Asuka's last ever NXT title defense. Before she basically went up undefeated, didn't she?
Yeah.
And left the title behind. This was when Ember Moon was kind of new and exciting. She was quite a cool character that came out of nowhere. And then they fucked it up literally the week after this, I think, because Asuka beats Ember Moon by cheating. Really, Asuka, I believe, pushes the ref or something into Ember Moon and manages to lock in the Asuka lock. And the following week, they show this backstage sort of vignette with Ember Moon walking around, and she's like crying and shit that she lost to Asuka. And it's like, what's going on? You're supposed to be like, I thought you were going to be a Lady Undertaker or like a werewolf, right? You're supposed to be like, no talking, none of that. You're scary. You're not human. Don't be showing me this horrible human side. That's not what I wanted from my Ember Moon. So it's a shame that happened. But at this point, it didn't feel like that. It felt like we very much had this kind of Lady Undertaker style-y thing going on.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. I thought that was really, really cool. I thought it was a great character. Asuka is obviously one of the best workers of all time, male or female. And they just did a tremendous job with this match. And so this combination of just watching one of the best in the world and this new exciting character that felt like it had so much potential at the time. And I still like Ember Moon now. I think she's great, but I think they could have done a lot more with her when she debuted.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I also feel like she works a lot better on the main roster setting than she did in the NXT setting.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, but her and Asuka did have great matches, and going back to when we were speaking about the Rumble, when she came last year and they had like a little face-off, that was a nice little moment. Nice little...
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, nice little throwback.
Ember had a good showing in this year's Rumble.
She did. Yeah, she really did. Every single woman, like, I think it was halfway through, anyone who got eliminated made me cringe because they hit so hard. I remember, was it Kairi Sane or someone who just like full on belly flopped to the outside?
Oh God,
Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I remember remembering that was a bad bump. Yeah,
all of them just landed so horrendously that I was like, oh, stop it. Brutal. But yeah, great match, and probably one of my favorite Asuka matches from NXT. Another one that doesn't really get talked about. Sorry if this is your number one. I doubt it is. Nikki Cross versus Asuka in a Last Woman Standing match.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that, to be honest.
That's a great match.
That was a good match.
Got really nervous that you were about to be fucking number one.
Oh, fuck's sake. Like, do you remember when you took away my Shane Kurt Angle match?
Yeah. I do.
Kurt Angle, I'm biding my time to get you back on that. The Asuka's debut match as well against Dana Brooke was really good. It was short. I miss these sort of... You don't get them so much anymore. These... when someone would debut on a takeover, and it would very much be a sort of, this is what this person is about match. And it's short and sweet, but it works. And that's what Asuka Dana Brooke was. Kevin Owens and Juice had a match like that as well, which was great.
Yeah.
It's just really nice to sort of see, just a short match and just someone burst on the scene and immediately get over. And yeah, seeing Asuka do that, and Dana Brooke did an amazing. I think Dana Brooke is properly underrated.
She is.
I think she does a great job at putting other people over. She's really quite good.
She's our new Foxy. We'll campaign to the death.
Yeah, have we finally given up on Foxy?
I think we have to.
The
hat sequence was kind of the last straw.
Do you think so? God, every time, we must have talked about this on the show before, but every time we try and defend Foxy to someone who's like a wrestling fan, we watch a show and Foxy fucks up. And we're like, no, but she's amazing.
The most famous example of that was like Survivor Series, where she was the team leader or whatever, and the backstage segment, her hat falls off, and at that moment I was just like, oh, Foxy. Not again.
Yeah, and that same night, she got pinned by accident.
Oh yeah.
She got eliminated. She didn't kick out in time in a genuine mistake. And it's like, fuck it up. Like, Foxy, give us a break, man. We're trying to back you.
Right, so we'll just we'll lean into Dana slowly but surely, and that'll be a good way to go.
Okay.
I can only imagine that we have the same number one. It's becoming a little bit of a tradition, this, to have the same number one.
It's nice. We take different roads, but we end up at the same destination. It's like playing Pokemon or something. We all do it our own way, but we end up the league champion.
Exactly. And if you don't,
It's nice,
look
isn't
at
it?
your life. But
Yeah, sort yourself out. It's a children's game, you retards.
my okay, I'm good.
Sorry, my mouth went quicker than my brain then.
That's why we love you. It's alright, no one ever makes it this far on the podcast, and if they do, they're like lifelong fans, not going to rat us out. Number 1, Sasha Banks versus Bayley at TakeOver Brooklyn.
Play the drop.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to hear it.
Ooh, such a good drop. It'd be a shame to waste it. Yeah. I love this match. It's probably the greatest women's match in WE history. Would you agree with that statement?
Yes, I would agree with that statement.
Cool. Excellent. I'm glad you do, because I sometimes watch this match, and if I'm hungover and I watch this match, because little secret side note about me, if I'm hungover, anything will set me off emotionally.
You get emotions, right?
emotions,
Yeah. No, I'm the same. Let's watch it together and cry together. I think it'll be bonding.
But like, I see them when they're doing it, and I'm so happy for them. Living a dream. But it's a great match. It really is absolutely fantastic. Bayley was kind of considered the weakest member of the Horsewomen. That was later solidified when Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha went up and she was left behind. The great promo package where they just showed the 4 of them and they slowly faded Bayley out. And just like, you're not on our level.
It was so good. It was such a good... the match is great, but the promo package was so well produced as well. And that adds to... There's a theme with this, right? Doing this podcast with you, I've noticed that a lot of matches that we talk about that have really affected us have really good promo packages as well. And I think that can up the quality of a match, having a really good promo package and story behind it, you know?
Every match needs a promo package. Every single one.
Yeah.
Because, like, you go back and watch stuff and you forget little nuances of stuff that's been happening, and it just WE is great at that. It just brings you straight back in to what's been going on.
I didn't appreciate them that much until I started watching ECW and on the network, because I never watched ECW like week to week when I was a kid. And when you watch it, I've no idea what the fuck's going on because they don't have these promo packages, right? So it's really difficult to understand who's feuded with who and why, and it's not until you see something without it that you really like. We could go back and watch any WE pay-per-view from any year and be caught up pretty quickly on what's going on because of these promo packages. And they serve a great purpose, and it's really good that they do them. So thanks, WE.
We love you. And this match also, so like Sasha had been called up, so logically Sasha was going to win this match. No, she was going to lose this match, right? Because she's in the main roster losing her title. But somehow they made you go, no, maybe Sasha can hold on to it. I don't know how NXT does that. They also did it with like Kevin Owens and stuff when he went up and then had his title defense, and you just go, no, fuck it, maybe they'll keep the title and still be on the main roster. It doesn't really make sense how they do it. But
no, it's great.
When I was watching this, I was like, I don't know if Bayley's going to win this. It'd be nice if she did, but who knows? And the entrances are great with Sasha and her like coming out in the Humvee and getting the escorts up into the ring. I just like that. It was a nice touch.
Yes, also the entrances were rad, and the and did they do the? Was this just for the Iron Woman match, or did they do it for this one as well? When they do that really cool, sort of showing them backstage walking through Gorilla to start their entrance.
I think that was only at
Respect.
Respect. They do it for this? I don't think it was.
That was
one.
Only at Respect. Oh, okay, well, at Respect, that was awesome as well.
And they do that music.
I love it when they do that. Yeah. And the commentators didn't say a fucking word throughout the whole of the entrances, which I thought was awesome.
Which is how it should always be.
Yeah, it was great. Gold winner. But, coming out in the car was awesome with Sasha and Bayley. Stephanie McMahon, even though she's a glory hunter and always has to be there for the important moves moments, actually did a great job, I thought, sort of introducing this match when she was out in the ring beforehand. She did a good job. And the girls, Becky and Charlotte, coming out at the end, and all 4 of them, sort of 4 horsewomen being all proud and that. This was before that sort of shit was done to death. It got on my nerves in the end. It was like every time the women do anything good, everyone has to cry and congratulate each other. And it's like, no, that's not, just fucking do it.
Well, yeah,
But-
that moment is what sets off my emotion. But
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay for this.
the actual match itself, Bayley had an injured hand a couple of weeks previously. She was also in Dusty tribute gear because Dusty had just passed away. So there was kind of that that feeling about NXT's NXT Takeover Brooklyn, the first one, absolutely phenomenal. We're going to be doing our favorite overall NXT takeovers, and this one it's going to be up there. Spoilers for you now. 1 or 2, definitely. Oh god, yeah. So, and just the match itself, one of my favourite moments is Sasha when she's got the bank statement in, after she's worked on, Bayley's hand and rammed it into the ring post and all that kind of stuff, and she's reaching for the ropes, and Sasha's just kicking at her hand and, stomping on it, trying to get her to stop reaching for the ropes. That's exactly what a heel wrestler should be, especially a submission specialist. Just little, little nuances like that just made it that much more entertaining. And then the reverse Rana from the top rope, which just makes you kind of look with one eye open, doesn't it? Those kind of moves.
Fuck it, Sasha Banks is going to get neck surgery one day, and that is the moment.
Yep.
Of why
the timing.
She really clipped her head on that. Yeah,
beautiful. And then she hits the Bayley to belly, and the crowd, the 3 count's coming, but she locks it in, she slams it. I think I was standing up when this happened, because that's when I know I'm invested. I'm standing a foot from the TV. 1, 2, 3, crowd go insane. Bayley finally wins the championship, and as you say, Sasha breaking down in tears, and the 4 of them, which, those iconic images in wrestling, but when you live through them, you don't really appreciate them. That's going to be an iconic image in the future. The 4 of them with holding the symbol up is just an unbelievable image to kind of end the night on. Yeah,
I think so. It was great. And it didn't. But that's the thing. It didn't end the night, right? So the main event of this show was Finn Balor, Kevin Owens in a ladder match. And who would have thought that the women's match? The match the show will be headlined by Prince Devitt, Kevin Steen in a ladder match, and it's not the best match on the card.
Right.
It's the best match on the card is the women's match. That's just incredible.
They just couldn't follow it. No matter what they did, it was just a gasp. It was a ladder match, for God's sake. Yeah, absolutely mental.
Another good bit of the Sasha Bayley match is when Bayley does a sort of roll backwards and go woo with her hands in the air and spins around. Yeah. When Sasha Banks does that to sort of mock Bayley and then just slaps her in the face. I really enjoy that.
Oh, beautiful. I love it. So, without a doubt, that's the most, for us anyway, and I think a lot of people would agree, just absolute favourite women's match of all time, really.
Yeah, this was the game changer.
Yeah, this is when they go, okay, we can take this somewhere. I think that was kind of the logic backstage, wasn't it? When we saw it with the next takeover. There's I missed remember the Performance Center series on the network, or what was it called?
Yeah, Breaking Ground.
That was it. That was great, and
that was dope.
And they showed
narrated by William Shatner.
Yes, that was weird, but great.
It was,
but they also showed
awesome.
The build up to Respect, where Triple H was like, "We want you to main event the show. It's going to be the first ever Iron Man match." And just the emotion with it all, and it was just that's when they knew where they could take this.
Yeah.
So that was a fun podcast.
That was a fun podcast.
It was. I very much enjoy speaking to the O.J.M.O. Make sure you go follow him on Twitter. Buy his merch. Go to his show. Support independent wrestling. Blah, 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 blah.
What do his initials stand for?
Well, this is the thing. He doesn't say. It's like a secret, which is why I didn't ask it. Because I know it's a secret that he keeps. Because he builds a character to himself, the Mystique.
He does well. You can tell from our interview, he's a very mysterious chap.
Exactly. So I haven't got a guest book for next week. I haven't figured out the top 5 not next week, in our fortnightly episode. So stay tuned to the Twitters, and we'll tell you what's coming up. Jesse, where can they go?
They can go to gottill5.com.
Amen, brother. Thank you for doing this with me. It's always a pleasure.
I like doing this with you. Calling Spots, buy Calling Spots, because it's a very good UK independent magazine about professional wrestling. It's probably the best one, and we have a nice little advert in there. Again,
Yeah.
We had one in the last issue. We got one in there again, which is awesome. So thank you to them for.
This is just
putting
them
that in
being
for
nice
us.
and just doing it for us, which I think is really sweet.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're good people, and it's a good mag.
Exactly. So go to Calling Spots and buy that magazine. Becky Lynch is on the cover, and you can do with that what you want. So thank you for tuning in. We'll be back in a fortnight's time with a brand new top 5 and hopefully another interview if I can be bothered to book one.
You're a salesman.
Have a lovely fortnight, Jesse, and I will only speak to you in 2 weeks' time.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'll see you in 5 minutes. Cool. Love you. Love everyone listening. Thanks.
Bye.